to this special edition of Tarot Insights. For the next week, we're going to every night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern, we're going to explore a different aspect of what may be coming up in 2022. Now, in a forecast, recognize that no psychic's 100% accurate or trying to be so, and everything may not be connected to you. This is a general forecast, which is going to be covering anybody who's watching. And so some things you may relate to and some things you may not. We're going to be, let's see, I have my list here. On Sunday, which is today, we're going to focus on body, mind, and coping skills and self-care in 2022. On Monday, we're going to talk about love, romance, and maybe a little self-love. Tuesday, it's looking at world events. Wednesday, what's going on with the government, the United States government, because, well, it's not where we are right now. We're in the Dominican, but that's where I'm focusing. On Thursday, we're going to talk about spirituality and spirit and your own spiritual growth in 2022, but more of a more worldly view. Friday is going to be finances, both on a personal level and on a countrywide level. On Saturday, we're going to talk about ecology, and also we're going to talk about good news. And on Sunday, we're going to talk about whatever else comes up and maybe get a message from spirit on 2022. So that's kind of our schedule. We'll try to keep to it. I can't say it's going to be exact, but we're going to start with body, mind, and body and mind, kind of mental and emotional states in 2022. And we're going to go by quarter. We're going to pull 3 cards for each quarter, and we'll see what comes up from that. And then maybe at the end, we'll get a little message. So, all right. So what do we need to hear as a group, as all those that are watching, about mental and emotional well-being in 2022? Let's see. For the first quarter, we're going to pull 3 cards. Then for the second quarter, 3 cards. Third quarter. And finally, what do we need to hear about body and mind in the fourth quarter? All right. Well, first off, we have, and this is the Dominican Republic in the background. This is live. This is not a fake background. You may see people walking by and you may hear people talking, and hopefully they won't be mowing the lawn or anything. But anyway, we're in Punta Cana at Playa Turquesa. So let's look at body and mind for the first quarter. And we have first quarter, it looks like we start off to a good start. We're supporting ourselves. We're supporting what we need. But by the middle of the maybe going into February, we're not sure we've started the right course, or more importantly, one that we can maintain. But what we do probably more closer to March is we get support and we find like-minded people. And so for our body, mind, and spirit for the first quarter, in January, we are gun-ho. February, we're feeling a little overwhelmed and not sure we have what we need to maintain. And in March, we tend to find like-minded people. So what might be my thoughts on that? In the first quarter, I think it's going to be really important not to bite off more than you can chew. Maybe little baby steps are better than gigantic resolutions. I recently posted something about resolutions being trying to resolve a problem. We're not a problem. Our life isn't a problem. It may not be perfect, but it's what we have right now. And when we try to solve it all at once, things that may have taken generations or even multi-generations to create, where it's too much, right? And so take little baby steps. What can you do today that you think you may be able to maintain for a while? If you decide you want to trim down, a crash diet isn't going to do it. You can't maintain that. What is a change? Maybe a small minor change that you can maintain. Maybe that's only 1 snack after dinner, not 2. Let's try small things. Or maybe we're going to walk walk for 10 minutes, not 10, 10 miles. So try to find small doable steps in the first quarter. And then the solution I think that you're going to come to, or that you're going to finish up with, is finding like-minded people for whatever changes that you're looking to do for both self-care mentally and emotionally might be helpful. In the second quarter, that's April, May, and June, April, it shows that we're just sad. We're struggling. And so in April, I feel that one of the reasons we're struggling is because we're focusing on the spilt milk. We're not looking at what opportunities may also be around. And so in May, we may just need to change our focus from spilt milk to where we're to what's behind, that we're not seeing. And so April just seems to be a month where we need to use our self-care and our mental and emotional self-care a little bit more. And some of that may be looking around to see, okay, I know X and Y isn't going right, but what do we have? What do we have in our mental and emotional toolbox that will help us to be able to look on the brighter side? Not in a Pollyannic, everything's going to be okay, pretend side, because that doesn't work, does it? Right? But in a realistic, maybe in April, it's going to be important to not only be honest about what's not going right, but also maybe do a little starting maybe a gratitude journal. But by the time we get to May, we are moving forward in our mental and emotional well-being. We're more connected with our divine connection, and I think, are getting out of letting only our senses and our body rule what we view as good or bad. And we're allowing more of our connection to the divine to be able to help us look at the bigger picture. In June comes, we have some emotional hard times, and I have a feeling that we're helping others. And I think this emotional Queen of Cups upside down may have to do with others more than ourselves. And sometimes the best cure is to help others. The best way to help us out of our emotional down times is to be of service to others. And that doesn't mean trying to fix others, because that doesn't work either. But lending a hand and seeing where we can use what we have organically within ourselves. What are some of our natural traits? And often when you're trying to help someone else, just listening can be part of it. But then remember your empath skills, and that as you listen, you imagine yourself not taking on the other person, because that's not healthy, right? But we imagine ourselves creating a supportive environment. What energetically do we need for our well-being, and resonate that out, not pushing it at the other person, because the other person may not want it. They may be supposed to be sad right now. And I know sometimes that's hard for us empaths to deal with, but sometimes it's just allowing someone to be exactly where they are. And so in the second quarter, mentally, emotionally, our well-being, it looks like looking at a change of attitude, starting a gratitude journal, looking at our higher perspective, and that may help us as well. And then being of service to others and looking at how may we help others. And that probably is also going to help us coming into 2022 for our mental and emotional well-being. So let's see what the third quarter has in store for us. Well, I think we take some time off and recognize that we can't keep carrying such a heavy load. And are we supposed to be carrying such a load? We may be finding in the third quarter physically, we're also looking at strengthening our physical body. But the June, so the third quarter is, let's see, we had April, May, and June. So this is July, August, and September. In July, I think we're really looking at what do we really want to take on? And have we taken on things that aren't ours? Are we accepting responsibilities that really are someone else's? Anyway, that's what it looks like for July. And in August, it's almost like if we don't have something nice to say, we're not going to say it. Really looking at, is it kind? Is it true? And is it helpful? And very often what we want to say to others is may feel kind and it may feel true, but is it really helpful? Is it going to help? If not, we may just zip. And so I think August, we're really going to be looking at, is it in my mental well-being, in my emotional well-being, is it important to speak up? And if it is, go ahead and speak your truth. But if it really isn't important, if it's not going to help the situation, maybe it's best to not say it at all. So that was July, August. In September, we are looking at focusing. We're trying to avoid being distracted by all of the things going on in the world and really focusing on what do we need to do in our world in order to have the best mental and emotional. Remember, today is all about mental and emotional well-being. The rest of the week we'll be dealing with other issues, but in 2022, it's so important to have your mental and emotional tools together. And so July, we're looking at, are we carrying loads that aren't ours? And how can we declutter our schedule? How can we declutter our feeling of responsibilities? And again, it doesn't mean we let go of everything. That's not realistic either, is it? But we look at what's really ours to carry. So that's July. August, we're communicating clearly, succinctly, but we're really serious about, is it helpful? Is this something another person can hear? What energy should we put in trying to teach others that are not wanting to learn or not wanting to hear about it? And then in September, we're learning to focus, not be distracted by all the baubles in life and all the goings on, and really focus on what's important to you, what's important in your life, and focusing on that. So let's look at the fourth quarter mentally and emotionally, and this is good. And it's funny, I've been doing a bunch of these type of readings, but for people individually. And it's been showing for a number of you, fourth quarter seems to really pull it together, and where we're doing much better on the mental and emotional level. So we have basically October, November, December. And in October, I'm happy to say we have the happy camper, So October, I feel like we're really going to see the fruits of our labor that we've done in the rest of the year in working on having stronger mental and emotional toolboxes, and actually using our toolboxes. And so October seems like a pretty feel lucky kind of go with the flow month. November, mentally and emotionally, we're really going after what we desire, and we're putting more effort into our desires. Now, those aren't necessarily the physical, they could be physical desires, but this is more about our mental and emotional well-being, our sense of satisfaction, our sense of okayedness. It seems like we're going after it more. And then by the time we get to December, we're really focusing on creating drama-free zones, really looking at balancing body, mind, and spirit. And also, I love this card because this is a card of balancing our physical and our spiritual lives, making sure we're taking care of both our physical and our spiritual and our mental and emotional needs. But to me, it's also creating balance in our life in all directions. What can we do that helps create balance? Now, sometimes when we're creating balance, it's just like teaching someone to help you. In the beginning, it's more work. It's like, oh, it'd take me longer to teach them how to do it than just to do it myself. That's a self-sabotage. That's a self-sabotage right there. If you take the time, yes, in the beginning, it takes longer to teach someone how you like the dishwasher loaded, right? Or whatever it is, whatever you feel like you need help with. Yeah, it takes longer. And you'll probably have to do it 5 times, 6 times before they get it right. But then not your job anymore, right? And so, yeah, it may take time and effort up front to create this balance in your life. But by the time you're done with that, you'll have the balance that you that you crave, because you won't be spending so much time doing things that other people that you could delegate to other people. Anyway, so it looks like a fabulous ending for our 2022 as far as mental and emotional well-being. Now, let me look and see if I can get a little message, and we'll finish up with that. The mind is the mind. That's it. It's what we choose to use as a filter to navigate through a third dimensional world. It is not who we are. It is a tool that we use. And like any tool, it may need to be tweaked. It may need to be sharpened. It may need to be even dulled at times when we tend to be a little too hyper. I had a cup of cappuccino earlier and I can feel the caffeine and the hype, and I have to, now I'm not going to do anything external to dull the mind, but I need to breathe. That's the way that I take it down a notch, right? And so emotions are energy in motion. They help move energy out of our body. And so if we try to stuff down our emotions all the time, we're going to have a whole lot of toxic energy that isn't moving. And so there's perfect times to be sad, mad, glad, all of those emotions. They are a part of us and they are valid. They are not us, though. They are a part of, again, what we use to move energy. And so as we look at fine-tuning the mind in 2022, allowing the emotions to do their job of moving the energy out of our body, it also reminds us that when we let go and allow that energy to flow, we're better off mentally and emotionally. All right, well, that does it for this first segment of Tarot Insights forecast for 2022. We'll see you on Monday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much.